These are the real stories of the ER that doctors never talk about.
360 joules.
All the medicines we had been giving him weren't working.
Isn't there anything you can do?
There's one thing. I need some ice.
Ice?
As much as you can find, as quickly as you can get it here.
This is where every second counts.
So we have to figure it out.
Whoa.
What did you do?
Yeah,
What did you do?
I screwed up.
You robbed the gift shop? That's where I buy snacks.
Stories you won't hear anywhere else, told by the real doctors who lived it.
I'm sorry, I just can't remember.
She had no memory of those 18 years. I had no clue how to get that information.
Sue, have you ever been hypnotized before?
She manages with an iron hand.
I need to stay here to see what it is you do.
Now, relax.
These are the untold stories of the ER. In a Boston teaching hospital, Dr. Jordan Moskoff has found a surefire way to keep his job entertaining.
So what do we got today? Maybe our brand with the burns? That's not bad. I'm not sure if it's book-worthy. What else? How about maybe E. fell with the musculoskeletal pain? So that could be good. Maybe you slipped and fell on the ice, broke something. Could be. Not bad.
What are you guys talking about?
Oh, the book. I've been collecting patient names for years now. This is actually book number 3.
We have a saying in the emergency department that nomenclature is destiny. And what I mean by that is that whatever your name is kind of dictates what's going to happen in the ER with you.
So we have Marceau Blaise. He came in with burns. We have Jimmy Shift. He was in a car accident. We got Richard Johnson, you can imagine. And then the names that are sentences I really like. So you get Anita Love, Juanita Cookie. You can imagine I thought long and hard before I figured out what to name my kids.
Yeah, I bet.
What's your ETA? 4 minutes? Okay, I'll tell him.
And then we get a call from the ambulance that they're going to be bringing in a younger man with difficulty in breathing, which typically means an asthma attack, but you never know.
Hey, sir, I'm Dr. Moskoff. What's your name? Come on, buddy, can you tell me your name?
So the first thing I do is I ask him his name. And I always do this with everyone who has asthma because I really don't worry what their name is. I'm more concerned, can they just move air in and out? Because that tells me, is it an asthma attack?
Robert Runner.
Okay, so because he can speak to me, I know that there's nothing stuck in his airway, okay?
So this Mr. Runner comes in and he's having a lot of difficulty breathing. So I listen to his lungs and he's got a lot of wheezes and it's a typical asthma exacerbation. So we do our thing.
BP's 150 over 80, heart rate 120.
Okay, can you tell me what set this off? Can you tell me what's going on? No? Okay, well, we'll get some treatment started. We'll get you talking afterwards, okay? Let's start a continuous neb, albuterol and Atrovent. Also, let's give 125 of methylprednisolone, and let's do 2 grams of magnesium. And make sure you draw a rainbow.
Okay, thanks.
We put an IV in, we give him the steroids.
So what do you hear?
A lot of wheezing.
Right, so it's pretty bad asthma, right?
Yeah, the worst I've seen.
You start giving him medications and expect a certain response from those medications. And if I'm not getting that response, that clues me in that I'm missing something, that something's not right with this.
Hey, Mr. Runner, how are you feeling? Feeling a little better, a little worse? No, sit forward. Let me listen to your lungs again. Good. Take some nice big breaths through your mouth. Excellent. Okay, sit back. So what do you hear?
Still breathing really rapidly, still pale. Doesn't sound like he's moving air in and out.
Right, so he's getting worse.
Usually, within a couple minutes, you kind of get an idea, is he going to get better, is he going to get worse? And he's just not really getting better. This woman runs in and she starts yelling at him.
What did you do? Huh?
Whoa.
What did you do?
Hey,
What did you do?
And I'm like, whoa, here we go. This should be good.
Before Dr. Kevin Clower became an ER doctor, he was a firefighter and a paramedic, so he knows both sides of a life and death radio call.
Squad 19, what's your ETA?
10 minutes over.
Stand by. I have Dr. Clower.
I have a 61-year-old male. Status is post-cardiac arrest. We're able to defib, and he's now in regular sinus.
Great work. Is he intubated?
Yes, sir. 2 milligrams of epi and 4 doses of Lido. We have him at 12 breaths per minute.
Come on, Dad, hang in there.
This family was really proactive. They started CPR at home, which gave him every chance to survive. The paramedics got there right away because the family called 911 right away.
At the hospital, Dr. Clower receives a second phone call.
EMTs again, line 4.
Thank you.
This is Dr. Clower.
We're losing him again. He's going into VFib.
When they call us back the second time, it means something went really horribly wrong. And they said, we've lost him again, and he's back in cardiac arrest, and we'll be there in 5 minutes.
They were doing CPR the whole way to the hospital. I could hear them saying that they did not have a heartbeat. And I just kept on saying, come on, Dad, come on, hang in there. And it seemed like it took forever to get to the hospital.
I can hear his ribs crack.
I did hear them say, I can hear his ribs cracking. I thought that he was gonna die in the ambulance.
That's my dad. My mother's coming with prescriptions.
You can go with him if you want.
Oh, I'll just wait for my mother.
My oldest son and his wife Jackie came, so as soon as I got all his medications together, they took me to the hospital. We pulled right in the emergency room and ran in. I was shocked that they took us right into the room where they were working on him.
Guys, this lidocaine isn't working. Let's switch over to amiodarone. Keith, 150 milligrams of amiodarone IV push. Come on in. I'm Dr. Clower.
We were all kind of just there, and he welcomed us in to come into the room.
How's he doing?
We're doing all we can to help him. We started a special IV line under his collarbone to give him medicines directly to the heart. We're breathing for him directly through the special breathing tube.
I will skip back to my previous history of being a paramedic, and I used to do these resuscitations in people's family rooms and living rooms and shopping malls. But I'll tell you, behind the scenes, what's going on most of the time is a conversation to move people closer to the inevitability that their family member probably isn't going to survive.
It seemed like we were in there forever, and I thought that they were just gonna say, okay, we're done. We can't help him anymore. But they didn't, they just kept on going.
These two guys that were doing the chest compressions, I mean, them guys got a workout, you know?
Charging, 360 joules.
Okay, I'm clear. Everybody else is clear. Still in VFib. Go ahead and defibrillate.
His eyes were bulging open, and he was not responsive.
Can you close his eyes, please?
Let's go ahead and give another milligram of epinephrine IV push, because he's still in VFib. All right, I'm clear. Everybody else is clear. Still in VFib. Go ahead and shock. Wait.
A small New Mexico clinic near a reservation can't afford a full-time ER doctor, so Dr. Kenneth Iserson works there part-time, and there's no doubt in his mind who's in charge.
Here you go, Mary. This one's ready to be filed.
Have you finished with these yet?
Not yet. I was just about to get to them.
Well, I'd like to file them, so if you wouldn't mind. And when you're done with that, I have a patient and two I'd like you to see.
You say yes, ma'am, to her, or she just keeps staring at you. You do exactly what she says when she says it.
Oh, what I thought I should probably see the patient in one.
She can wait. Those charts will take 5 minutes. Let's just get them done now.
Okay.
All the other nurses are frightened of her, but she is intensely intelligent and manages the entire place with an iron hand.
All done.
Good.
Number 2, you said?
Yes. Her name is Sue, and she has quite a nasty cough. Sue, this is Dr. Iserson. He's here to take a look at you.
I've got this, Mary. How you feeling, Sue?
Not good.
The patient had a hacking cough and was bringing up some material. So could have been pneumonia, could have been TB, and certainly on the Indian reservation where we were, tuberculosis was a real concern.
How you feeling, Sue?
Not good.
Well, let's take a look at this, shall we? I'm just going to feel your glands here. I believe this is scrofula.
What's that?
It's a scar from a tuberculous infection of the lymph nodes in the neck.
That's right, Mary.
Tuberculosis is a potentially deadly airborne disease. Latent TB bacteria live in the lungs of 1/3 of the world's population, mostly in impoverished societies.
Tuberculosis is spread through multiple different methods. It can be person to person. It's not that easy to get, actually. And most of the family members of active tuberculosis patients don't get TB, or at least they don't get active TB. They may become positive. Nevertheless, we treat people who are family members of active TB patients as a preventative measure.
Sue, it looks like you may have had tuberculosis of the lymph nodes. Have you seen a doctor about this?
And the question was, did she actually have active tuberculosis that would need treatment, intensive treatment, or had this been treated and she was just appearing with a cold?
I don't know.
You don't know. Tuberculosis is a serious and contagious disease. Surely you would know whether or not you've been treated.
I don't remember anything since I left.
Sue left the reservation when she was a teenager, and I know her family, and let's just say there were some difficult circumstances.
And you're back now?
Yes, but I don't remember anything that's happened since I left.
She had a complete memory up to the time she left. Said she had no memory for the time she was gone, and then had a complete memory from the time she came back.
So you have no recollection as to whether or not you've been treated? Well, we gotta find out.
You absolutely can die of TB. What I needed to know was, had someone diagnosed and treated this lady during that interval? I had no clue how to get that information.
Tell him, Rob. Tell him what she did.
What you talking about, Rob? What did you do?
I screwed up.
What do you mean you screwed up?
Rob! Rob!
Dr. Moskoff is treating a man with an asthma attack who now seems to be suffering a girlfriend attack.
What did you do, huh?
Whoa, whoa,
what did you do?
Now, this is kind of strange because most people walk into an ER and they see their loved one on a stretcher with a mask on their face and IV lines going into them, hooked up to a monitor, and there's this sense of awe, like, oh no, something's not right. They're more subdued.
We're trying to figure out what's the relationship here, what's happening, and why is she reacting like this? I'm Dr. Moskoff, just calm down. Can you tell me your name?
Angelina.
So this is Angelina, and Angelina is Rob's girlfriend, and she is very upset about something. Just relax and try to calm down. We can't help Rob unless you tell us what you know. Can you help us here?
You tell him, Rob. Tell him what she did.
What's she talking about, Rob? What did you do?
I screwed up.
You bet you did.
Okay, what do you mean you screwed up?
It is ace. I did heroin.
Oh, heroin. All right, well, that explains it. No wonder this guy is in such terrible shape.
I'm sorry, I screwed up.
Now, this is not uncommon at all. I get a lot of patients who use heroin, and when they snort the heroin, it just sets off their asthma.
We see this all the time. We can take care of this, okay? Everyone just try to stay calm and relax.
And despite having a history of asthma, they still do it, and then they come in an asthma attack.
This is great information for me, because now I know what to do. Rob has been getting sicker, but now I know how to help him. But then...
Rob! Doc, he looks blue. Pulse is 180. Pulse ox dropped to 78.
Okay, get 2 milligrams of naloxone IV push stat. Mr. Runner, wake up for me. Mr. Runner.
This is now someone who's potentially going to die.
Dr. Iserson needs more information about his patient's medical history, but his patient suffered a traumatic loss and can't remember anything from the last 20 years.
So, doctor, do you think it's tuberculosis?
Well, all the symptoms point to that, but I really need to know if she's been diagnosed and treated before. You really can't remember whether or not you've been treated? Well, without that knowledge, we're gonna have to send you to a bigger medical center, and it might require months of treatment.
I don't want to leave my family again, but I'm sorry, I just can't remember.
I was casting about for any idea when, from the recesses of my mind, came this ridiculous thing we had learned in medical school called hypnosis.
There is something I could try.
What's that?
We had been taught as a class all together. Eventually, if it worked, your hand was supposed to raise up with like a balloon, hot air balloon, holding it up. I opened my eyes. I thought that was a ridiculous thing. I looked next to me, and my lab partner, his hand was in the air, and he was deeply into it. So, okay, maybe it worked.
Let me do a quick examination. Let me get you to open. Say, ah. Your throat looks pretty swollen. Is it sore?
Uh-huh.
Marion, would you mind grabbing me some acetaminophen?
What for?
The patient. Sue, have you ever been hypnotized before?
I don't think so, but there's a lot I don't remember.
Thinking about giving it a try to help you remember. Would that be okay?
I don't know.
So my option was to try it or to have this lady go back to the major medical center, a long distance away, and be evaluated and get some treatment.
I can't guarantee it's going to work, but I really need to know whether or not you've been treated for TB. So I think we should give it a try.
If you say so.
Great. This is what we'll do.
There you go.
Thanks, Mary.
Aren't you going to give it to her?
Mary, I'm wondering if you would leave us alone for a while.
Everything that went on there was supposed to be run by her, and she did not like anything out of the ordinary.
Why is that?
There are some questions I would like to ask her alone.
Well, you can ask them with me here. I know everything that goes on in my clinic.
To get her out of a room where you're trying to be alone with a patient is nearly impossible if she doesn't want to go.
That's more like it, Keith. Put it right in his groin. Now, do you know what we're trying to accomplish with this?
It looks to me like you're trying to freeze his balls off.
Dr. Moskoff has just learned that his patient's asthma attack was triggered by snorting heroin.
Naloxone 2 milligrams.
Go ahead. It's an antidote for heroin. And the way this works is that it blocks the heroin from the body and makes you wake up instantly.
Okay, just breathe, just relax. Okay? Take some nice breaths. You just tried to die on us, but we gave you the antidote for the heroin you took, okay? So now your asthma's still pretty bad, so we're giving you the medicine for that, so I want you to just keep breathing normal, breathe easy, let the medicine work for the asthma, and you should do just fine, okay? So make it easy, nice easy breaths, relax. Okay. Can you two get along for just a little bit? You can start fighting after he gets better.
And now he's much more awake, he's much more with it, and he's able to take deep breaths, and now he's able to actually get the medicine into him much better. So I watch him for about 10, 15 more minutes, just very closely, just to make sure he's not going to get worse. So I'm able to step away.
So I'm working with another patient, and the nurse comes over and tells me Mr. Runner, who has just finished having a severe asthma attack, is talking about leaving. And I'm like, leaving? This guy's so sick. He's not ready to leave yet. So now I have to go and figure out what's happening with him.
So I go back over to talk to him. And he's dressed, he took himself off the monitors, and he's sitting on the end of the bed.
Mr. Runner, Danny's telling me you're thinking about leaving?
Yeah, Doc, I gotta go.
And he's still wheezing, and he's moving air. He's much better than when he arrived, but he's still not doing great by any means.
Well, how are you feeling?
I'm cool, thanks, Doc.
You don't look cool.
So I listen to his lungs.
I tell him, you can't leave. You're not nearly ready to go yet. But he's like, Doc, I gotta go. Sorry. So he's going. He's walking out the door. This is crazy.
I'm clear.
Dr. Kevin Clower and his team have been fighting to resuscitate a 61-year-old cardiac arrest victim.
Wait, he's in sinus rhythm. We were about to defibrillate Mr. Gomez again and trying to get him out of that lethal heart rhythm ventricular fibrillation. All the medicines we had been giving him weren't working. We charged up the defibrillator and were ready to discharge the electricity. and all of a sudden his heart spontaneously converted into a normal sinus rhythm again.
What's going on?
His heart started again. He has his pulse back. This is a very good start for him, but he has a long way to go.
I probably would have been pacing and crying. But being in the room, I was getting to see everything that they were doing and that they were helping him all they possibly could.
The more family, the better. If they're gonna have to say goodbye, let them say goodbye when the person's still alive.
Just want you to understand that it's a good sign that his heart is beating again, but it doesn't necessarily mean that he'll make a full recovery. What I want you to do is plan for the worst, but hope for the best.
Brain damage?
Unfortunately, yes.
I thought about this man who we resuscitated. I knew what was likely to happen, like many others who've come before him, that he was probably going to end up not going home. He was going to spend a day or two in the ICU and then most likely be brain dead. And then the family was going to have to make difficult decisions at that point and likely withdraw life support. The term is pulling the plug. I expected that would be the case.
There's one thing that might work, and we'll give it a try. I need some ice. I need everybody to get me some ice.
Ice?
As much as you can find, as quickly as you can get it here.
I told the staff about this concept that was not new, but was relatively new and being pushed by the Heart Association since 2005 and some other organizations, called therapeutic hypothermia. If you drop their body temperature modestly to about 89 or 90 degrees Fahrenheit, and you keep them there for about 12 to 24 hours, you actually improve their chance of a good neurological survival.
This is just not enough. This is a good start, and I appreciate the effort. I need a lot more ice.
When you're starting therapeutic hypothermia in a place that's never done it before, you have to give them a little bit of grace that they may not understand everything you're asking for.
Now that's more like it, Keith. Put it right in his groin. Now, do you know what we're trying to accomplish with this?
Right as I asked her that question, Mrs. Gomez looked down at the bed, looked back up at me, looked down at the bed, looked up at me.
It looks to me like you're trying to freeze his balls off.
I think that broke the ice in the emergency room.
I did not expect that. I didn't expect that kind of composure, that kind of poise, and that kind of humor from a family member who was facing a grave loss in front of her. But it relaxed the whole staff.
Well, I assure you, Mrs. Gomez, we're not going to accomplish that.
And what great composure in that situation.
Pulse ox is dropping.
It's probably just a blood pressure cuff interfering with the pulse oximeter. Just take it off and we'll recheck it. No, it's still dropping. I gotta check him. Now, I think we got an air leak. I need a laryngoscope stat.
So in the midst of all of this and how complicated this resuscitation was, now we have to reinsert another breathing tube.
Pulse ox is coming back up.
Great. What's his temperature?
91.
That's good. Let's go ahead and package him up and get him to the ICU. If you want to see Rita out front, we're going to move him to the ICU, and she can help you find your way there.
Thank you.
Everybody, you did a great job.
What the popular media has done is assume, hey, if your heart stops, that's okay. You just go to the hospital and get it restarted. It'd be nice if that's the way it works, but it doesn't work that way very often.
When we got up to the ICU room, his body was alive and moving, and it was very scary because he still wasn't awake.
He looked like he was dead.
After I got her into what I thought was a hypnotic state, I asked what I thought was a ridiculous question.
Think about all the times you've ever been treated in a hospital or a clinic.
Cardiac arrest victim Mike Gomez was cooled to 90 degrees Fahrenheit for 12 hours to reduce the likelihood of brain damage. But the following day, he's still in a coma.
So far, he's not responding well, neurologically speaking.
What does that mean?
I'm afraid it doesn't look good.
He wasn't conscious, but he would have like tremors and his hands would just turn in. They were saying that was a sign of brain damage.
He smacked his face to show us that, you know, he's not waking up.
Mr. Gomez!
He was slapping him. I guess it wasn't really hard.
What the hell?
But it was enough where I didn't like it. I wasn't dealing with that very well. You know, mostly, you know, it was my dad. Didn't like anybody, you know, touching him like that.
His heart has survived the coronary, but I'm afraid his brain hasn't. I'm sorry.
I remember when he told us that, you know, we all broke down, you know. Looked real bad again.
Dr. Iserson wants to try hypnosis on his patient, but he suspects the head nurse will not agree with his methods.
I need to stay here, Dr. Iserson, to see what it is you do.
Mary, I really need your help. There's a lineup in triage, and I don't know who to admit first. Mary?
I'll be back shortly.
And then I went through the hypnotic, very basic hypnotic procedure with her.
Okay, Sue, I'm going to try to relax you and see if we can get the information we want, okay?
Okay, doctor.
Okay. I'm just going to get you to lie back. Good. Okay. Now, I want you to breathe deeply. In and out.
We're not sure what hypnosis actually is. We know how to induce hypnosis, and we know some of the effects that we can get from hypnosis in a patient.
I want you to give your attention to your feet. Relax your toes. Good. Now your instep. And now your heels.
The simplest way of inducing hypnosis is using your voice.
Picture a warm sensation starting in your feet and moving up your legs and relaxing your thighs. Okay, good.
And it can be very, very fast. 90 seconds, 2 minutes, and you can get someone who's never been hypnotized in a state where you can do a medical procedure on them.
Now breathe easy, and I want you to stop coughing.
What happens to the person? The person will generally be very relaxed. And are they unconscious? No, they're absolutely not unconscious. We know that. Will they do things that they wouldn't normally do? Not really.
Just keep breathing nice and slow.
Unfortunately, even experts can't tell whether you're actually hypnotized until you try to get your information or do your procedure or whatever you're going to do. After I got her into what I thought was a hypnotic state, I asked her to think about where she had been over the past 20 years. And then where had she been treated medically for the problem in her neck?
Think about all the times you've ever been treated in a hospital or a clinic.
I remember a few times.
Good. Now, I want you to picture those places. Just look around.
She was probably as hypnotized as I was going to get her, and I asked what I thought was a ridiculous question.
Can you picture where you were treated for your neck tuberculosis?
Yes.
Good. Okay. What was the name of the clinic?
It's the Northwest Health Clinic.
Well, I was pretty startled. First, that it seemed to be working, and second, that she could come up with an answer.
Okay, that's good, Sue. That's good. Now, can you remember the telephone number?
Now, as you know, people can't oftentimes remember their own phone numbers, so to get this would have been unbelievable.
The telephone number of the clinic?
Yes.
It's 626-798-8000.
Can you repeat that?
626-798-8000.
I'm looking at this phone number, and it has the right number of digits. But I'm saying, oh, this can't be true. This just cannot be true.
Dr. Moskoff is trying to convince his very sick patient not to leave the ER.
I gotta go.
Well, let's take it easy for a second. Tell me, why is it you have to get out of here so fast?
I don't want to stick around here. It's tubes on me, and it's just not.
You're allowed to leave, but Danny, before he goes, what should we check before he leaves?
His pulse ox.
Right, we should definitely check his pulse ox.
What's pulse ox?
It's a measure of how much oxygen you have in your blood. So I check his oxygen level, and normal is about 100%. And if you're going to go home with asthma, I like it to be over 95%.
All right, pulse ox right now is 90%. When you're trying to die on us 20 minutes ago, it was all the way down to 78.
Cool, now I'm like 30 points better.
Well, you're also sitting still with a pulse ox of 90, and it's the same as if you were trying to climb Mount Everest.
I feel better.
Yeah? All right, well, do this. Take that off, and let me just see you walk back and forth to the nurse's station, and we'll see how you do after you walk.
Because when you're moving, your body requires more oxygen. And if you require more oxygen and you can't get it because you're having an asthma attack and your lungs just can't get the oxygen in, then your oximetry reading will go even lower. So I have him walk in, it drops down to 86%. And I said, look, I can see how you're feeling, I can see how you're breathing, I can see the numbers, you're not ready to go yet. He's like, I gotta go. I said, what do you have to go for? He's like, I gotta go pick up my kids. So he doesn't have to give me an excuse, but I think patients always say, I have to pick up their kids because they want to seem more sympathetic to me. And so they think I'll understand them better and say, oh, you have to pick up your children, well, you better leave. So I've been doing this long enough to know that when someone tells me I gotta go pick up my kids, that means I gotta go get high. I just need you to sign this form for me.
What's this?
This is the against medical advice form. Basically, it means that I want you to stay, but that you want to go. And it also means that you understand that if you leave here, then chances are you're going to be right back here, or another ER, or dead.
Rob, just let them take care of you.
Here. Mr. Reynolds, listen. All right, I'm a busy guy. You can see that I'm a busy guy. I wouldn't be spending all this time with you if I didn't think you actually needed to be here. So let's take care of your asthma. I'll help you through the heroin withdrawal. Because if you leave here now, it's just going to be more of the same. And you're going to be right back here.
But he's adamant and he takes off. And I go and start seeing other patients and kind of get back to my daily routine. And about 5-10 minutes later, I hear over the announcing system for the hospital.
Rapid response team, report immediately to the gift shop. Rapid response to the gift shop.
Well, the rapid response team is almost like the in-house paramedics for the hospital. It's usually a family member faints, where someone took their medications and didn't eat that morning because they have a test and they kind of got woozy in the lobby or something like that. And they just announced rapid response team, hospital lobby, and then off goes a nurse and one of our ER techs who's a paramedic with a stretcher and goes to collect the patients. So I just, again, walk back into my resuscitation room, put my gloves on and get everything ready because you just never know what's coming in. And then, lo and behold, here comes a stretcher and there's Mr. Runner sitting on the stretcher, breathing fast again, surrounded by the hospital police. Really? Yeah, here you are. You didn't even make it out for 5 minutes. You're right back again with us.
Mr. Runner, welcome back. Now he's in handcuffs.
I said to my kids, I said, I am going to sign a DNR.
I felt like that we were giving up on him.
Mike Gomez has survived a sudden cardiac arrest, but his brain may not recover.
I was devastated.
We really didn't get to, talk or even say, I love you. So I think just not being able to say goodbyes was hard.
Did you get it taken care of, Mom?
What's that? It's called a DNR.
A what?
Do not resuscitate order.
I said to my kids, I said, I am going to sign a DNR because your dad would not want to live like that.
Let me see that. You signed it?
I was very upset with her. I felt like that we were giving up on him when she signed it.
But I tried to explain to her that her dad would not want to live in a vegetable state if he had brain damage.
Mom, tell them to tear this up.
I still, to this day, can't even understand why she signed that form. That's something that I would never even think about doing.
Dr. Kenneth Iserson has hypnotized his patient, hoping to learn information about her past medical treatment. She's just given him a phone number to call.
She tells me a phone number. Okay.
Now, I just want you to continue to relax. I'll be right back.
I walk out, and I go to the phone, shaking my head, not believing this for a second, and not willing to tell anybody what I'm doing or why I'm doing it, because it's so ridiculous.
Where's Mary?
She's taking patient history in 3.
Oh, good. Okay, will you pass me the phone?
So I dial the number. It rings, which is a good sign.
Hello. Did you say Northwest Health Clinic?
And I'm not sure if I can talk for a minute because I am so shocked.
This may sound kind of strange. My name is Dr. Kenneth Iserson. I'm calling from a reservation clinic outside of Albuquerque. I have a patient here who may have been treated by your clinic about 20 years ago. I just need a little help with her records.
Oh, we know her. Oh my gosh.
Seriously? Well, she may have been treated by your clinic for neck tuberculosis.
And I'm speechless. This is the kind of thing that is more than unbelievable.
Thank you very much.
So I say, thank you very much, and I walk back in there, and I wake this lady up.
Sue, when I snap my fingers, you're gonna feel like you were in a long, deep sleep. You're gonna feel calm and happy.
I feel better.
Well, you're not cured just yet, but we did find out some important information. You don't have TB.
And I told her what I had found, and that she did not need additional treatment. She needed treatment for her cold.
I remembered that.
I was pretty surprised myself.
I don't believe it. Thank you, doctor.
No problem. I'll just write your prescription for that cough, and you should be better in a few days.
How did I remember all that?
Well, it turns out you're a pretty good subject for hypnosis. Honestly, I didn't think it was going to work, but I'm sure glad it did. Here you go.
Thank you, Dr. Iserson.
He said, wow, this is awesome. So I started using it in the emergency department and on more complex cases. In a few cases, I used it for children who came in our trauma room who were just panicked. And just to reduce their panic, I hypnotized them, and just so we could get a good exam. And we did get a good exam. It didn't stop us from getting a good exam. And just has a wide variety of uses.
Everything okay?
Excellent, Mary. Thanks for asking.
Does she have TB?
No, just a nasty cough and a cold. She was treated for TB years ago.
How did you find that out?
Sometimes you just have to know how to ask.
Okay.
And subsequently, I'm told she did regain complete memory for the 20 years once she found out that the tribe was no longer angry at her for being gone.
This one's finished.
When I walked into the clinic, I would have told you hypnosis was only for charlatans. I came out a believer.
Hey, Doc, come here.
What's up?
You've got to see this.
Is this the footage? Is this the Rob Runner footage?
Yeah.
Rob Runner. You just can't make this stuff up.
Dr. Moscoff's on-again, off-again asthma patient is suddenly returned to the ER, this time in handcuffs.
Mr. Runner, welcome back. See, told you left too early. So what happened?
He got down to the lobby and then he realized he didn't have any more money to buy more heroin, so he robbed the gift shop.
You robbed the gift shop? That's where I buy snacks. And after all we've been through.
And as soon as he starts running from the gift shop, he's got no oxygen. So he ends up collapsing right in the gift shop, and security just grabs him right there. And then they bring him right back to me in handcuffs.
Let's get a continuous neb started. Albuterol and Atrovent, and we're gonna have to reestablish an IV. See, you can fix asthma, but you can't fix stupid.
You're an idiot! That felt great. Bye, Rob.
Robert Runner. Rob Runner. He was both Robin and Runnin. I guess nomenclature is destiny. This is a good one for your book.
Absolutely. Well, this should be a wake-up call for you, my friend. Once you're feeling better, I'm gonna come back and we'll talk a little bit more about treatment options.
There's 5 rules of emergency medicine. I always tell the residents, air goes in and out, blood goes round and round, you need a liver to live, the kidney is smarter than you are, and you can't fix stupid. And this is one of those, you just can't fix stupid. Yeah, definitely, I can fix asthma, I can't fix stupid.
Hey, Doc, come here.
What's up?
You've got to see this.
Is this the footage? Is this the Rob Runner footage?
Yeah.
If we had gotten his oxygen up to 95%, maybe he could have robbed the hospital gift shop and run away and gotten away with it. So I guess we'll never know.
Well, Rob Runner. You just can't make this stuff up.
Pat Gomez has signed a do not resuscitate order for her husband Mike, who has been in a coma for nearly a week.
I'd go home and cry. I didn't want anyone to see me crying, so I'd cry at home. I'd cry in the bathtub because you can't see your tears in the water.
Days turn into weeks with no change in Mike's condition. Pat gives up going home and begins spending nights on a hospital gurney.
They gave us beds to sleep in the waiting room.
Finally, one night at about 4 a.m.,
Someone grabbed me on the toe and I jumped a mile and screamed, and she screamed because I scared her.
He's awake.
And she said, Mike's awake.
Honey?
What happened?
You had a heart attack.
I did? Todd.
Hi, Dad. He was awake. I just thought, wow, you know, it was real close. You know, everything, especially after the neurologist told us, you know, he was brain dead, and then, you know, all of a sudden he was talking. Crazy.
Dad, what's the last thing you remember?
I remember there was a lot of commotion, and there was ice, putting ice all around me. And I remember your mother saying something very rude.
You heard that.
After that, I knew that he was going to remember us.
I couldn't believe I heard you say that.
When you hear that it's been 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, the chances of him really surviving and surviving neurologically intact are really, really very remote.
Why don't we go ahead and put that in a pillowcase and wrap that around his head?
But having given him the opportunity by doing therapeutic hypothermia, I think really gave him a chance that when he was going to wake up, when the time was right for him, that we were going to preserve as much brain function as possible.
Mike Gomez has surprised everyone, both with his recovery and his memory of his cardiac arrest.
I heard him come in. The rescue guys come in with the rig or whatever. They come in the house, and they're saying they had to cut my shirt. And she goes, "Oh, that's his favorite shirt." And they cut it off.
We're losing him again. He's going into VFib.
And then I was in the ambulance with my daughter because I heard her tell, because my eyes were always on. She goes, "Dad, it looked like your eyes were bugging out like eggs." She goes, "I told them to close your eyelids," so they did. I remember a guy sitting on top of me going to give me whatever you want to call it, pressing on my ribs and stuff, trying to get air to my brain, I guess. And I can remember him sitting there. He was a younger guy, had on a blue shirt, and he was perspiring. He goes, I'm starting to get goosebumps. Then somebody else took over. I remember that.
Put it right in his groin. Now, do you know what we're trying to accomplish with this?
She said, "So you're gonna freeze his balls off." I'm waiting, oh my God, why would she say something like that? 'Cause I could feel the eyes cold, you know what I mean? But I'm going, geez, now that's embarrassing, you know, whether you're dead or not, that's embarrassing.
Everyone laughed, but maybe I should say he's gonna freeze his jewels off or something.
I remember saying that, you know, because I'm saying, well, I was already cold in hospital to begin with. After that part, I kept on waking up and coming back and dying again, whatever they said, because they said that, what, 5 times, I guess. But it seemed like a minute, 5, 10 minutes. Next time I was back in the hospital, you know.
Mike was in a coma for over 2 weeks. Sometime during that period, he remembers having a near-death experience.
So I could see a bunch of people as I started floating away. And I got to a certain height where you could see Earth. It was like this. You could see Earth right here. I could see it. Now, see, personally, I'm a little bit shaky of heights. But I said, well, I'm dead, so it doesn't really matter, you know. And it's like I'm sitting down now. It just felt like. And all of a sudden, I go floating away in this dark tunnel. And as I'm coming up, starting to go up a little bit. I hear everyone's going, "Hi, Mike, hi." I come out, and I'm in this room with all these other people. They're all saying, "Hi, Mike." And they're all sitting at a desk, like on a plane ship, you know. And this guy standing with a white shirt and a black vest on and black pants. He comes over to me. He goes, "Mike." I go, "Yes." He goes, "You have to go back." I go, "I have to go back?" He goes, "Yeah." I said, "Do I really have to?" He goes, "Yeah, you have to really go. You have to go back, Mike. You can't say you have to go back." I said, "Well, okay, you know." He comes up to me, he shakes his finger, and he goes, "But you're going to be okay." He goes, "You'll be back." I said, "I'll be back." So I was happy about it because I liked it where I was at. And I said, "Okay, I'll be back. I'll see you." Everyone's yelling, "Bye, Mike." And it's the way I went.
Mike Gomez is back home and doing well. He's now walking 2 miles a day and enjoys life surrounded by his grandkids.